The last 24 hours have been a crazy 24 hours for the Riftbound community because we got the card gallery. This has been absolutely amazing. We know how many cards are coming to the game, right? We can see every single card here, the cards that are revealed, the cards that aren't revealed, and there's plenty of card reveals on the schedule. In fact, if we go to the news tab here, you can see a bunch of information about the way that the things are going to be ruled out, and we can also see English review outlets. So here is a bunch of awesome people in the community who are going to be able to reveal cards. If we scroll down a little bit here, we go to July 7th, we can see Riftbound Community Discord. That's obviously the Discord that I run. If you're unaware, uninitiated, come join the Riftbound Community Discord, linked in the description. But I wanted to go over all of the brand new cards. I didn't go over these right as they were revealed because I was busy implementing them on the Tabletop Simulator mod. So if you've been playing on Tabletop Simulator, you might have noticed all of the brand new cards are on Tabletop Simulator, including the cards that we've had in the past that have now been updated for the new card frames. So huge deal for Tabletop Simulator, and it's a big update. So really, really happy that that is in the game and I don't have to worry about that anymore. And every new card that is announced this week will be added to Tabletop Simulator as soon as possible. So now let's go over all of the new revealed cards in a single video. So first new card on the docket is Darius. I am such a big fan of this card. This card's absolutely nuts. So Darius is a 5 energy, 1 power card with 5 might. He reads, when you play your second card in a turn, give me +2 might this turn and ready me. My current understanding of the rules and the understanding from players who are also very read up on the rules is that Darius should see himself. So you should be able to play Darius as your second card for turn, and then he should ready himself, or he should effectively enter ready. If that is not the case, this card is worse than my current understanding, but I still think the card's really good either way. In fact, I think this card is really, really strong in Volibear. We just like things with 5 might in Volibear, so Darius is already off to a good start in Volibear, and then his ability to ready can set up for some crazy setups with things like Stormbringer, and just being able to push to a battlefield with 7 might is a big deal, regardless of any additional combination stuff. Even not on the turn that he's played, like you could just play Darius to base, push him to like Windswept to the next turn, play 2 cards, have him be ready, and then use Windswept movement to go somewhere else. Like, Darius is just crazy. In the few games that I've managed to try out Darius in so far, he feels absolutely nuts. I'm giving him 4 out of 5 stars. This card is an absolute unit. Darius is unfortunately the only new red card we got, but I think it's a really powerful red card, so I don't think red's got too much to complain about. Now we can move on to green cards. This is Charm. I think this card is absolutely incredible. Probably one of the best cards we've ever had revealed for the game. This is up there with some of the best cards in the game, in my opinion. It is a 1 energy, 1 power card, and this effect just reads, move an enemy unit. One thing that's important to keep in mind, there's a couple things to keep in mind about this effect because it's a really unique effect for the game. One is that if you move an enemy unit to an open battlefield, that will give them a conquer point. There's no avoiding that will happen. So sometimes you're going to give up a point with this card. Sometimes it's going to be worth it. Sometimes it won't be. It's up to you to evaluate in the moment. But also, because we're forcing movement with an effect here, you can break the movement rules. So you can move a unit from a battlefield to a battlefield. You can move a unit however you like with this card because it doesn't specify the location. The same way that Yasuo legend ability specifically dictates you must move me from a battlefield to a base or a base to a battlefield. Charm does not dictate that. So that means Charm can freely move an enemy unit wherever you like. So you could force an enemy unit from one battlefield to another to maybe you want to fight something or drag something to you. This is a really, really strong effect, and I'm excited to try it out some more. It already felt really good in the couple games that I tried it in. So I think this is the first 5 out of 5 card that we're going to go over today, and I think it's really, really good. It's going to be a huge part of Green's meta game. Stand United is a hidden action spell with buff a friendly unit. Buffs give an additional +1 might to friendly units this turn. Really strong effect for cards that are... first of all, let's go over what buff does, because buff is a new mechanic. So buff is like a... You can think of it like a token. Buffs just give +1 might to units. If a card has a buff, it is quote-unquote permanent. So it's not until end of turn like most additional might effects or temporary might effects. This is a permanent buff, but you can only have 1 buff at a time unless the card says otherwise. So the default rules is that you can only have 1 buff, but let's say there's another card we're going to go over here in the future. That card will say, I can have an unlimited number of buffs, but the default rule is just the 1 buff. And then Stand United is saying instead of buffs giving +1 might, buffs now give an additional +1 might. This felt pretty strong the one time it was resolved against me, and I think I might be under-evaluating this card. I think this card might be really strong, like really, really strong. If you think about it as through the lens of like, oh, it's a combat trick, even if it was just a combat trick, because it's kind of just wait, this card is nuts. The more I think about this card, it's actually nuts. Because my initial interpretation was like, oh, well, I need to be playing buffs. But it's not even really like I need to be playing buffs, right? Because it's kind of just a combat trick. It's kind of a defensive combat trick, and then the more buffs cards you have, the better it gets. It's already +2 to a single target, so the more units you have with buff tokens, the better this gets, obviously. But its starting point, the floor of this card, is much higher than I realized. Yeah, I think this card's actually really good. I'm gonna say 3 out of 5, because I don't think it's better than, say, something like Darius, who I put at 4 out of 5. So 3 out of 5 seems like a good spot for him. Spirit's Refuge is a gear, and it reads, when you play this, buff a friendly unit. So this is one of these ways that we can get buffs. And then friendly buffed units have Deflect, if they didn't already. So typically Deflect is a keyword that would stack, so you could have Deflect 1, Deflect 2, Deflect 3, and then the more deflects you have, the more the energy, the more power the opponent has to spend to be able to target that card. But Spirit's Refuge is specifically saying that if the card already has Deflect, we're not able to give it more Deflect. So just something to keep in mind. And then this is a 2 energy, 1 power card, so it's going to cost some recycling there, or you're going to need a seal or something. But just because this is one of the few ways to get buffs onto cards, it might be playable for decks that care about buffs. And Deflect, I think, is a lot better now, especially because Leona is going to be a big meta player, especially once we get more cards revealed for her. And Leona is going to really struggle against Deflect, I think. Deflect is going to make Leona's question a lot of their life decisions, as they have to spend 1 power every single time they push a battlefield. So yeah, I think Spirit's Refuge is quite good. I'll say 3 out of 5 again. 3 out of 5 is like, oh, this is, you'll see this around. Ahri Alluring is the green champion card for Ahri, and we're gonna take a look. This is the base art, and now let's take a look at the alternate art, because I love this one so much. She's a 5 energy, 1 power card with 4 might, so she's understated. This is an expensive card for the amount of might it has, but its effect is extraordinarily powerful. Its effect is, when I hold, score 1 point. Now, holding is already kind of difficult in our current understanding of Riftbound, so being able to hold is a big ask. But if we do hold, we're gaining twice the amount of points. And if you think about holding is already kind of twice the amount of points, right? Because you're getting the point for the conquer, and then you're getting another point when you get the hold. So Ahri's kind of, when she pushes a battlefield, if she survives a turn rotation, she's kind of getting 3 whole points for that one effort. Now, obviously, there's a lot going into that. You have to protect her with probably some combat tricks or some denial effects, but I think the payoff is really worth it. I think at a high level, when we're playing this card, if this effect resolves, we're probably winning that game 9 out of 10 times. I think that that's a big enough payoff. The question is she going to have the surrounding support cards? Already in playtesting, I felt like she was pretty strong, so I'm fully expecting Ahri to be a legitimate player in the game, and she's probably the card I'm most excited to build around. Anything like this that's cheating scoring points or cheating cards that read like win the game on them, I'm a huge fan of those. And I think Riftbound's equivalent of that is going to be artificial point scoring, and Ahri is all about that. So I'm a huge fan of this card. 10 out of 10 design, and I'm gonna say this is gonna be a 4 out of 5 card. It's not right now with the current card pool, but I think this will be a really powerful card. Zhonya's Hourglass is our first hidden gear card, so there's a lot of confusion about this, so I'm going to break this down step by step. So first of all, this is a 2 energy card, and it reads, the next time a friendly unit would die, kill this instead and recall that unit. When you recall a unit, it just means taking it to base. When you recall the unit, it's not considered a move. So if you were to recall, so if you were going to use Zhonya's Hourglass on, say, Traveling Merchant wouldn't let you discard 1, draw 1 because he moved, because he's not actually moving, he's recalling. Now, you can play this onto your board because it's a gear card. You can play it right onto your base, and then it would just sit there in base for however long. But if you play it hidden, you need to play it onto a battlefield, just like any other hidden card. And then when you use this hidden effect, you would have to flip it and then immediately resolve this. Gear cards cannot exist on battlefields, so once you flip this, the effect is resolving, right? And then we're sending the Zhonya's Hourglass to the discard or to the trash, and then we're recalling whatever card we're protecting. But if for some reason, some card effect or some interaction somehow forces Hourglass to stay on the battlefield, It wouldn't. Gear cards cannot exist on battlefields. I believe the interaction is that if a gear card somehow does make it to a battlefield, it goes to base, but you shouldn't need to worry about this. Don't worry about this right now. Too long didn't read. Zhonya Hourglass is good. I'm going to say 4 out of 5. Not like a meta definer, but like this is going to be in a lot of decks. Lee Sin, I'm continually surprised by this card. This card's really good. Lee Sin is a 5 energy, 1 power card with 5 might. We're going to go over to the alternate art real quick. Holy, look at that alternate art. And he has shield 1, which is a big deal. When he's defending, he has +1 might. And then he also has exhaust, buff me. And so he gets the +1 might that we talked about with the buff mechanic earlier. But he also has, I can have an infinite number of buffs, or I can have any number of buffs. What I find so interesting about this effect is that Lee Sin himself is a buff engine. So even though obviously the instinct is that you want to put like you want to put him in a deck that's using a lot of buff cards, but realistically, it might just be the case that you run Lee Sin without any particular buff synergy, just because he is his own buff engine. If he stays out on the battlefield and he holds a battlefield, he should continue to hold that battlefield for some time, because you can just keep turning him sideways, keep scaling him, and he just stays on that battlefield. If he was too big to deal with the previous turn, and now he's just going to keep getting bigger, he's going to scale all on his own without any need to play any additional support cards for him. So I think this card's great. I'm going to say 4 out of 5 again. Not quite a meta definer, but definitely a mainstay for sure. I will say he's a touch expensive, but it's probably important that this card is expensive. Whiteflame Protector. I'm seeing a lot of cope about this card, but I don't think it's particularly good. This is 8 mana, or 8 energy, I should say, 2 power with 8 might, and it reads, when you play me, give a unit +8 this turn. I just don't think the swing is that important. I don't think this is... Comparing this to like the type of swings you can do with other more energy efficient things, I don't think that this is what we want to be doing. I will say, however, if there's more dragon synergy in the set, or some way to make this card more efficient, this could be a lot better. But in its current state, I think this is like a 2 out of 5 card, maybe even like a 1 out of 5 card. But yeah, definitely not impressed with this card right now. Next up, we have Sprite Call. This is a 3 energy card, and it's a hidden action spell. And it reads, play a ready 3 might sprite unit token with temporary. Temporary just means at the start of the turn, it's going to die. So you get a 3 might card for 3 that is already ready. You can do this at action. You can do this at action timing, and it can be hidden. The more I think about this card, the more I like it. At first I didn't like it, but the more I think about it, the more impressed I am with it. I'm thinking this card actually might be pretty good for Victor, believe it or not. I'm going to say this is 4 out of 5. I don't know what the exact combination is or where we want to be putting this, but I think this card is way better than people are giving it credit for, and it will find a home. I think this is a really good card. Speaking of really good cards that may not appear so on face value, we have Blast Cone Fae, which is a 2 energy, 1 power card with 2 might. Off to a good start. Honestly, that's like a good... We're starting good. And then it has hidden... And it has hidden, when you play me, give a unit -2 might this turn to a minimum of 1. So minus might, I think, is a really powerful effect to be happening on a when you play me timing, at least on a unit, because that means it can't be denied, it can't be win-walled, it can't be interacted with in any way, or at least any of the effects we're currently familiar with. There's no way to like negate a unit effect. So Blast Cone Fae can make a huge difference in combat that the opponent may not necessarily be able to respond to. Just because it's so hard to interact with this card and so hard to respond to it, I'm going to say it's a 4 out of 5. I think this card's actually really good. Ravenbloom Student is a 2 energy, 2 might card, so off to a good start. And then it reads, when you play a spell, give me +1 might this turn. Once again, I think this is a great card, and it has a lot of positive interactions with the blue cards that we've seen. I'm going to put this at, I want to say 5, actually. I want to say 5 out of 5, but it's really hard to tell contextually because we've seen so few blue cards. I'm going to say 4 hesitant. I'm going to say 4.5 because I think there's a good chance this card's absolutely crazy. We just need to see a slightly more synergy. Next up, we have Kai'Sa. We're going to look at the Kai'Sa Alta art, though. Boom, there's the alt art. She's a 6 energy, 1 power card with 6 might. And she also has, when I conquer, you may play a spell from your trash with energy cost less than your points without paying its energy cost. Then recycle it. You must pay its power cost. So we're playing cards, quote unquote, for free from our trash when we conquer. And we have ganking, so conquering is a little easier for us. I think this card's much worse than people initially thought it was when it was initially leaked. The main reason for this is because we can't use it with our signature spell. The signature spell for Kai'Sa, which we'll go over here shortly, is a 7 cost card. And obviously if we're at 8 points, we're not really going to have access to that. I will say Kai'Sa gets really exciting in 2 versus 2 because in 2 versus 2 you can go above. Well, the final score in 2 versus 2 is 11 points, meaning that Kai'Sa will be able to cast her signature spell in 2 versus 2. I'm really curious to see how much stronger Kai'Sa feels when she can do that. Although I will say in the few playtest games that we've done so far, I haven't been impressed with Kai'Sa. I'll say for now that Kai'Sa is a 3.5, but she definitely has room to go from anywhere from a 3.5 to a 5.5. Right now, I think she just feels a little too slow, but it's very possible that we'll find the 40 card combination deck that makes Kai'Sa feel substantially stronger, and also we're working with a temporary revealed card pool, right? We're going to get more and more cards revealed, so only time will tell for Kai'Sa, but for now, the verdict is not great. Promising Future. Hopefully that's what is in the future for Kai'Sa. This spell is a 5 energy, 1 power card. With each player looks at the top 5 cards of their main deck, chooses one, and then recycles the rest. Starting with the next player, each player plays those cards, ignoring energy cost. They must still pay power cost. This is a really fun and exciting card. The few times this is resolved during testing has been really hype. I will say it's a really annoying effect to resolve inside of Tabletop Simulator, so take that for what you will. But I think this is a super fun card. A lot of ruling questions come up when resolving this card, but I think this will be good. I think this will be a good card because the main reason for it is that if there's a specific card in your deck that you need to see, like, oh, I need to play this card this game, running some number of copies of Promising Future is essentially saying, I will find that card, because Promising Future can hit itself. So let's say, for example, I really need Grand Stratagem to close out this game. I can press Promising Future, find a Promising Future, press Promising Future again, find a Promising Future, and press Promising Future, and somewhere in that chain, I will have found Grand Stratagem. Somewhere. It will be there somewhere, I believe. So assuming you hit all Promising Futures, which, you know, is not especially unlikely, right? You're quote-unquote drawing 5, and 3 copies, that means you'll see 15 cards during all of those activations. Granted, 2 of them are Promising Future in that particular line, so you're actually seeing like 13 cards, but that's a crazy number of cards to see if you're looking for one specific card. I can't help but feel like Promising Future has a Promising Future, so I'm going to say this is at least a 3 out of 5. So I'm going to say like a 3.5 out of 5, because I feel like it's somewhere in between 3 and 4. Cithria Cloudfield. Man, this card is off to a bad start. This is a 2 energy, 1 might card, and it reads, when you play another unit, buff me. So she starts off as a 2/1, the lowest stat line in the game that we have seen so far. And once she meets her condition, if you're playing another unit, she'll go to 2, which is the bare minimum for a 2-drop to be playable in this game. I will say her interaction with Lee Sin is particularly compelling because it means she's able to survive. We'll go over Lee Sin here shortly. But there are reasons you might want buff on a card, even if the end result is that the card is about on par with everything else. Is it enough to make her good? Well, I think I want to see a bit more buff synergy before I make that conclusion. With the card pool we have right now, I want to say Cithria is like a 2 out of 5, but we are missing out on buff synergy right now, especially for the orange color. So this is a very like subject to change opinion. With current card pool 2 out of 5, but she could be anywhere from 2 out of 5 to 5 out of 5. Like, I'm being totally serious. She could end up being a 5 out of 5 card. So I reserve the right to change my opinion, but for now, she's a 2 out of 5 card. Which is a shame because I love Cithria and I would love for her to have like a really good card. So I'm hoping we have some good buff synergy coming up. Pack of Wonders. When I first read this card, I was like, this card sucks, but I think this card's actually crazy. So this is a 2 energy gear card. So this is going to stay on the board permanently, and then it's exhaust. So basically it's saying once per turn, you may do this. And then the thing you may do is return another friendly gear unit or hidden card to its owner's hand. This means we can replay hidden cards. It means we can replay effects that have when you play. I think this card's great. No notes. I think card good. Maybe Pack of Wonders doesn't quite manage to break its way into the meta this set. I'm going to say that this card is 3 out of 5 right now, and I think it's definitely going to get even better as we start seeing more Teemo cards. We haven't seen a ton for Teemo yet, and I think Teemo's going to absolutely love this card. The ability to basically replay your hidden cards is going to be a big deal for Teemo. Whirlwind. I don't really know what to make of this card. It's a 4 energy, 1 power card, and it reads, starting with the next player, each player may return a unit to its owner's hand. It took me a long time to understand why this card didn't read do nothing. My initial interpretation of this card is basically it said starting with the next player, each player may choose one of their units to return to their hand. But what it's saying is starting from the next player, each player may choose a unit to return to the owner's hand. So the player after me could choose one of my units, and then when it comes to me, I could choose one of their units. So that's why Whirlwind doesn't read do nothing. It does sometimes do something. It's really hard for me to interpret this card, to be honest. I don't really have like a good vibe for where this card should be at. My instinct is that it's bad, but to be honest, my interpretation of it is totally out of whack because I read it wrong the first time, and now my brain is like completely shut off when trying to interpret this card. So this card could be anywhere from like 1 out of 5 to 5 out of 5. My instinct is that it's 2 out of 5. Solarian Chief is a 5 energy, 1 power card with 4 might, and it reads, when you play me, choose an enemy unit. If it is stunned, kill it. Otherwise, stun it. So stun is a new mechanic. Basically, if a card is stunned, it doesn't deal damage during the combat calculation. This can result in some pretty wacky scenarios. Understanding stun is kind of, wrapping my head around stun is still kind of difficult when evaluating the current board state. So I don't have super strong opinions on stun itself, but I will say this card is almost certainly good. If your deck is stunning stuff, I don't know if stun is a strong enough effect that this is going in like non-stun decks. Like, are we happy to resolve this? Don't get me wrong, you're going to be happy to resolve this for its baseline effect some percentage of the time, but it's going to be way better to get the kill effect on this. So yeah, I'm going to say the card will see play somewhere. So we'll say 3 out of 5 for now, but it could be like 4 out of 5. We can move on to Leona. Let's quickly, that's the base art. Let's move over to the superior alternate art. So Leona is a 4 energy, 1 power, 4 might card with shield 1. So she gets +1 when she's defending. And she also reads, when I attack, stun an enemy here. This has felt really good offensively. And it's also felt pretty decent defensively because she has the defender. One thing I will say that's important to keep in mind for Leona is that her effect is not optional. So units with Deflect feel really punishing for Leona because she has to target them and she has to get, so she'll have to cycle 1 to be able to target something with Deflect. With that said, I think Leona does feel really strong. Her color combination is absolutely crazy, and I expect good things out of her in the future. I don't think we quite have the synergy that she can keep up with some of the best decks in the game for now. I am going to give her a higher rating than what I want to give her because I feel like she's going to be really strong depending on the cards that get revealed. Actually, it almost doesn't really matter what the depending. She just needs like more things that contribute to her strategy. So even if those cards are relatively low quality, she'll be strong, I think. So I'm just going to say 4 out of 5, even though she doesn't feel quite that strong right now. We're moving over to Set now. I'm going to quickly jump over to the alternate art because it's the alternate art. We got to show off the alternate art. A 4 energy, 1 power card with 5 might. It is Set Kingpin with tank, meaning that combat damage must be assigned to him before anybody else, and he gets +1 might for each buffed friendly unit at his battlefield. So probably good in Leona, probably good in Set. I think that this card is really good. No notes. Good card, I think. 4-5 is just like already a good start, and then his numbers are going to get higher. So now we're up to the legends, which is really exciting. Kaiser is the Fury Mind legend of the set, and she has exhaust, reaction, add 1 power, and she can only use this power on spells. So she's a seal for free that can be used on spells. This is fantastic news. This is a really, really strong effect. It is worse than the leaked version that we heard. People from the summit were saying that she was just a seal, but she's a seal exclusively for spells, which is a big downside. But I think this card is still a really strong effect, and the other cards in Kaiser seem compelling, so I think Kaiser will be good. It is kind of weird to rate a legend without the entirety of the context, but I think my mindset is saying that Kaiser is going to end up around middle of the pack for cards or for decks in the finalized metagame. So my instinct is that she'll end up in like the high B tier or whatever, and I think cards that are there should probably be like 4 stars. So we'll say 4 stars for Kai'Sa. Acathian Rain is a really powerful signature spell. It reads, do this 6 times. It is a 7 energy card with 3 power. But it reads, do this 6 times, deal damage to a unit, and that is not specified for battlefield or base, so she can target wherever she likes 6 times, meaning she's dealing 12 damage split up however she likes. Really, really strong effect. Absolutely love this card, and excited to see more from Kai'Sa. Darius is up next, and I saw people downplaying this card, but I think this is actually quite nice. It reads, exhaust, reaction, legion, so he needs... Basically, when he plays his second card for the turn, he gets +1 energy. I think this can totally be a big deal. This is a hyper aggro card here. So this is going to be like aggro tokens. If you think of Victor as kind of mid-range to control token strategy, Darius is going to be like aggro. Or like aggro tokens. He just wants to put stuff on the board as quickly as possible, use his additional energy for turn. If this card isn't good in set 1, it will be good. Like that, just the ability for +1 energy, and the Darius champion's really good. I'm really excited to see what the order version of that card is doing, but for now, I'll say that Darius is 4 out of 5. Noxian Guillotine is Darius's signature spell. It is a 4 energy, 1 power card. It has action, choose a unit, kill it next time it takes damage this turn, and then Legion, kill it now instead. So if this is your second card for the turn, or if you've played any other cards for the turn, Noxian Guillotine just reads choose a unit and kill it, which is huge for a 4 energy card. Like, that is crazy. Ahri Nine-Tailed Fox is actually kind of crazy. It reads, when an enemy unit attacks the battlefield you control, give it -1 might this turn to a minimum of 1. So the idea for Ahri is that she's going to be the hold deck. She wants you to hold battlefields because the opponent is worse at attacking than they are against any other people. I will say, I have some ruling questions about this card, but I'll keep that to myself for now. We're going to say this is a... I say like a 3.5 out of 5. The effect is good because it's static, it doesn't have any conditions, it's just nice, but I don't know where she'll fall in the metagame. Yeah, I'm a little bit hesitant. I think this card might not actually be that strong, but the idea is there, and it'll really depend on how the metagame shapes. So this could really be anywhere between 3 and 5 stars. I'm going to say 3.5 for now. Foxfire. There's been some people downplaying this card, but I think it's actually pretty good. Foxfire is the signature spell for Ahri. It has hidden and action. Kill any number of units at a battlefield with a total of 4 might or less. So just so that we're all on the same page about what this card is doing, this is not killing all 4 might units at a battlefield. It is killing units up to 4 might in total. So that means if the opponent has 3 units with... if the opponent has 4 units with 1 might, we can kill them all, but we couldn't kill 2 units with collectively 2 and 3 might, because that would be a total of 4. Sorry, that'd be a total of 5. So we would have to kill off 1 of their units instead of 2 of their units. So hopefully that was enough of an example that we all caught up on what this does. This being a hidden card is interesting because it kind of encourages Ahri to lean into hidden stuff, right? Because ideally, we don't want to just be running 1 hidden card in our deck, right? We want to run multiple hidden cards to keep the opponent guessing, at least ideally. It might just be the case, though, that some hidden cards are strong enough that we just run that hidden card just because it's just that good. We saw this with Hidden Blade back in the early preview days when we just had trial decks. We were totally happy to run 3 copies of Hidden Blade, even though everyone knew every single time we played a hidden card that, hey, I'm playing Hidden Blade. So it might be the case that Foxfire is good enough that you just run it for that 1 and you're happy, and it might even just be good enough that you're happy to never play this as hidden. You just play it as action. Obviously that's never going to be the case. It's not going to be the case that we have a card with hidden and we never want to play it with hidden. There will be some percentage of the time that we want to use this as hidden, especially if we're running seals in Ahri. But this card is just good. I think this is probably just 3 of. I will say it feels pretty bad against Volibear, for example. They're obviously going to go over the top of Foxfire all the time, but other decks will have some number of cards that Foxfire can hit, and that's all that matters. Maybe it's not quite 3 of in every metagame, but it feels 3 of in this metagame. Next up, we have Leona. I was so excited to see Leona because I've been saying for a while now that pretty much whatever Leona says, she'll probably be good because her color combination is nuts. Yellow and green have some of the best cards in the game that we've seen so far, so I was really excited to see what she did, and her effect did not disappoint. When you stun 1 or more enemy units, buff a friendly unit, which just means give it +1. +1 is no joke. +1 can often make or break the difference in combat, both defending or when attacking. So this card is absolutely crazy. I'm gonna say 5 out of 5. Really strong effect. I will say the one downside of this effect is that it's kind of narrowing what Leona wants to do. It's basically saying I am a stun deck. Now with that said, I was saying before that regardless of what her text was, green-yellow might just be strong enough. So it might even be the case that the best Leona decks don't even utilize her effect. I mean, I'm sure they'll utilize her effect because they'll probably run the new Leona champion. So you'll probably have at least 1 stun effect. But what I'm saying is that this is a chance that optimized Leona, like best Leona deck, doesn't even run the stun cards because it's just like, okay, well, I want access to these colors. Just something to think about. Next up, we'll look at Zenith Blade. Oh my god, they cooked. This card is crazy. This is a 3 energy, 2 power card with action, stun an enemy unit at a battlefield. You may move a friendly unit to that enemy unit's battlefield. A stunned unit. So we may stun a unit at a battlefield, then we can move to that unit. It's kind of like Last Breath in the sense that we're dealing with a unit, right? We're kind of, Zenith Blade is kind of killing a unit. Most frequently, very often it's killing a unit, and then we're getting a free movement out of it. It's kind of what Last Breath does. It's kind of a bit different because we can move from a battlefield to another battlefield. So there's some implications there. Really good card though. We're gonna say 5 out of 5. 3 of in every Leona deck. Very strong, as all of the signature spells should be. Teemo, the Swift Scout. Man, they cooked with this card. You may pay 1 energy to hide a card with hidden instead of 1 power. Every single hidden card is substantially cheaper with the power of the Scout's code. 1 energy and exhaust, we can put a Teemo unit that we own into our hand from our champion zone or the board. There's a few reasons you might want to do this, but let's talk about this a little bit. So we can bounce any Teemo card from our board into our hand, but not just our board, also our champion zone. So the hidden card, sorry, the Teemo that we've seen, and I'm assuming that the blue Teemo is also going to have hidden, but let's not worry about that right now. Let's just focus on purple Teemo. Purple Teemo has hidden. So if we use purple Teemo as our chosen champion, we might want to bounce that Teemo to our hand, then play it as a hidden card to prevent the opponent knowing what hidden card we played instead of playing it directly from our chosen champion zone. We can play a card, from what I understand, we can play a hidden card directly from our chosen champion zone as a hidden card if we wanted to, but the Swift Scout lets us bounce that card to our hand to add a little bit of ambiguity behind which card did we just play face down. We might have played a different card face down. I'm really high on Teemo. The effect to just take all hidden cards from a power to an energy is a huge deal. I'm gonna say Teemo is like 4 stars, man. I'm really excited for Teemo. I think he's gonna be really strong. Guerrilla Warfare is a 2 energy, 1 power card, and it reads return up to 2 cards with hidden from your trash to your hand, and you can hide them ignoring its cost this turn. So you can just hide cards for free. Yeah, I mean, this is a really strong effect. Guerrilla Warfare, OP, probably 4 out of 5. Almost done here, just a few more cards. We got Misfortune, and she just reads Exhaust, give a unit ganking this turn. This has felt way stronger than I expected it to in the few practice games I played with it, so I think she's really good. 4 out of 5. Bullet Time, this card is nuts. Bullet Time is a 1 energy action with pay any amount of power to deal that much power, to deal that much damage, I should say, to all enemy units at a battlefield. So it's like a closing the game card, right? We spend all of our power to wipe the board and then push onto a battlefield. Feels really strong. I will say it really sucks going into Defy or going into Windwall, but other than that, card seems really good. Careful playing it into green. It also combos really well with Warwick, right? Because we can just spend 1 power and then deal 1 damage to everything, and then push Warwick and clean it all up. I actually think Misfortune and Bullet Time are really strong. I'll say Bullet Time is 4 out of 5 again. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say Bullet Time is 5 out of 5. This card's nuts. People aren't giving this card enough credit. 5 out of 5. Really, really strong card. The Boss Set. When a buffed unit you control would die, you may pay 1 power and exhaust him to spend its buff and recall it. So basically, you can protect a buffed unit from dying, and the cost for doing so is removing that buff, exhausting Set, and paying 1 power, which is totally acceptable to save a unit. I think this card's really good. I don't really feel its power level yet because I haven't played with it, but on paper, and I played against it once, feels really strong. So I'm going to say Set is... I think Set's really good. I'm going to say Set is 5 out of 5 because I'm also contextually accounting for his signature spell, which we're about to go over. Showstopper. A 1 energy signature spell. Already off to a great start. 1 energy, 1 power signature spell with buff a friendly unit. Already great. Wouldn't pay for that just yet, but, we're starting off strong. Buff a friendly unit in your base, and then move it to a battlefield. So it's a piece of free movement with a buff. I think this is really, really strong. Probably one of the best signature spells in the game. Let's say this is also 5 out of 5. Set's off to a great start. We haven't seen all of the buff cards yet, and we haven't seen... There's still a lot of cards to be revealed for the set, as you can see me scrolling through. These are some alternate arts and some battlefields. We're not going to go over the battlefields because we've already seen them. But yes, there's a lot of cards to be revealed in the upcoming set. So there's going to be a lot of context that changes. But I just wanted to go over the cards that were revealed today. And hopefully you learned something from this video. Or at the very least, maybe you see the cards for the first time. Thank you so much for watching. Keep being awesome. And I'll catch you in the next one.